Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I am your host, Charles Wallace. Today's guest is a former Navy SEAL, a motivational speaker, and a successful entrepreneur. He is known for his leadership and mental toughness. So, without further ado, let's jump into my interview with Ray Cash Care.
I can hear something calling, it's calling me every day. If taking a chance is a crime, then I've got hell to pay. I've been walking the streets in my mind, trying to find a new day. Keep on searching until I find a new way. I'm gonna say something, I hope you don't mind. It's time to rearrange. I walk round in circles, I'm going nowhere. It's time to make a change.
Ray, how you doing? Thanks for joining today. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me, brother. I'm pumped.
Same here, man. This was a big deal for me when you accepted, so I truly appreciate it. I think a lot of people know who you are, but for those that don't, who watch and listen to my show, would you mind giving a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, guys. Ray Cash Care, 52 in March. You got me by 2 months. Baltimore native, live in Virginia Beach. Married to a beautiful wife I have no business being with. Got two great kids. Grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Decided to create my own narrative. Instead of being a victim, I became a victor. Joined the Navy, became a SEAL. Was in the Navy for 12 years. And went over and dabbled a little bit in the CIA, doing some stuff for about 14. And now I'm a entrepreneur, whatever the hell that means. I'm Chief Communications Officer of an American-made gun company. A speaker, motivator. I mean, I'm opening up for the Wolf of Wall Street here in January. And I live by my 4 F-bombs, my family, fitness, finances, and faith. And I just believe that people have so much more in them. And let off the governor, put the gas down, and let's roll.
Well, I'll say this. I have to say this now, but I truly mean this. I have no business being married to my wife either. So if I didn't,
Most of us don't.
yeah,
Most of us don't. That's
yeah,
why I got
so
her tattooed on my arm.
yeah, I had to put that in there. Otherwise, she'll get me for
Oh
that.
yeah, she listens. Got to
Yeah.
give, got to
So
give
yeah,
Mama Bear her props.
I'm
She's
not
at work
worthy.
right now. I called her a slacker. She hung up on me, but yeah,
So
love you,
Ray,
baby.
Ray, knowing that you were in the Navy, I was curious about this. You called it your 4 F bombs. I know
Mhm.
you mentioned in some of my research that I've seen and know of you about your 4 pillars of success. How
Mhm.
have they guided your transition from military to civilian life?
You know, it made it the easiest and the hardest transition I've ever done. Like the pillar, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, communication. I infused that with my family, fitness, finances, my faith. Um, it made the transition easy, but being an entrepreneur is scary as hell because and when you're in battle and you go overseas, you know who the enemy is. What I'm learning and what I've learned, right, what I'm learning as well, is that the more successful you become, the more people want a piece of you, and not everybody has good intentions with that piece. They want to use you, they want to abuse you. So the transition for the most part was easy, but it's just a different battlefield. It's like it's very blurry, I mean, but I'm a fast learner. I've definitely weeded out a lot of the, pieces of crap in my life that I don't need anymore. And I'm surrounding myself with bigger, better, faster, and stronger. A lot of individuals, when they become entrepreneurs, they always want to be the alpha or the best. That to me is capping out. I try to surround myself with, high achievers. I told you I'm opening up for the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. I mean, I do things with Tim Grover. These guys are way out of my league, and people go, you shouldn't put yourself down like that. I'm not. I'm just here. I'm coming for him. I told Tim Grover the other day, I'm coming for you. He's like, come get it. Because that's awesome. He's accepting the challenge. And Yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur is scary. It's scary as hell, but the definition of an entrepreneur, brother, is someone who gets up and take risk. We all are entrepreneurs. Every human being, when you go to sleep, there's a risk you may not wake up, and every day that you get up, it could be your last day on earth. So I just apply what I used on the battlefield and apply it, infused it with my home field and, and my workplace, my three battlefields of life, and it's definitely paying off.
I got to tell you, it gave me a little bit of comfort to hear you say that, because I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit, and now, I'm going on 3 years doing this, man. I was getting a little bit nervous this morning knowing that I was going to speak with you, man, because I kind of put you up on that level the way you're putting some of those folks up on that level. So I do thank you for that, though.
I don't hear that too often, but thank you. And my he's not really my real brother, but his name's Bill O'Brien. He's like a big brother to me. He called me up today. He's super successful, served some time in prison, was part of the mafia back in the day. I mean, listen, he's super successful businessman now. And he goes, "You're always putting yourself down and putting people on a pedestal." I'm like, because I want to go up, And he kind of thought about it for a second, but I love that. I mean, that's awesome. I've never, people always say that I look up to you, right, and stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. But I think it's an ongoing process where I'm looking up at people too. The people at the top of their games, they still look up to people where they had. Everybody has had or has a mentor. Um, Minus maybe the big man upstairs. I mean, he kind of did a lot of it on his own, but he still had people that influenced him. I think being influenced is part of the game. I am not a big, the word that really infuriates me though is the motivation. Motivation gets you moving. Discipline gets it done. I hate name dropping using Tim Grover, but he says it best. He's not a motivational speaker. He's an elevational. He wants to elevate people. I want to create a world of discipline for people. People ask me all the time, Ray, you and your wife and your family are in shape. What's your secret? I started working out when I was 14 and I didn't stop.
Mm.
I didn't stop. Now, I'm not the man I used to be, but for my age, I still get it done. It's funny, I've got a guy named Garrett G3 calling me right now, one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the country, hitting me up, and I'll just, I'm too busy to talk to him right now. Love you, G. So,
Man, well, Ray, I'll just say this one more thing to that, man. You're a humble man, and I mean, honestly, when I do this, I don't know what to expect all the time, and I kind of thought that about you, seeing you, but man, your humility and the way you carry yourself, it's really appreciated, and it gets through to people like me, and it helps motivate us. So thanks for that.
I think being humble and vulnerable are two great superpowers that a human can have. Like, don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to sit here and BS you, sir. I mean, there's things that I'm cocky about. I joke around with my wife. My wife's like, "You're so cocky," but I think as a whole, I think my superpower. I've got a bunch of superpowers, but I'm vulnerable. Showing that I'm vulnerable. I know I make mistakes, but I'm humble, and I'm only humble because not because I'm hungry, because I'm starving. Like
Mm.
I absorb so much from people and I love it, man. But yeah, I think that's the key. Like, because guys at the top of their game, they don't want some cocky ass coming in and telling them, this and that. I come in super humble. I've had entrepreneurs tell me something I've heard a million times, and every time they tell me, and I'm like, yes, sir, yes, sir. Like it's the first time hearing it. It's like that handshake. I go into life like a handshake. When I shake someone's hand, I give them a firm handshake and I make sure they know there's no other place on earth I'd rather be. And I establish that eye contact, letting them know that. I think once you do that, that opens the door, um, you know, to life, to relationships, to possibilities.
Mm.
That's what I want to do.
Well, it's apparent, man. So something else, as you talk about that, I was reading about your 3 R's: resilient, resourceful, relentless. Do you have any, like, a personal story maybe that exemplifies the 3 R's?
Well, me becoming a Navy SEAL, that's what I base that off of. I have a shirt that I give to all my employees here that says I identify as a cockweed, which is half cockroach, half garden weed. Have that unkillable mindset. When I joined the military, you have to take the ASVAB, it's aptitude test. and you have to have like certain things, combinations of scores combined to make it. And I didn't have it. So I had to take that 3 times. First time I took it, I bombed it. Second time I took it, I missed it by 1 point, the combined score. Everybody, everybody told me to stop. Everybody.
Mm.
And it was this and this that told me to keep going. But what I did was I asked for external help. There was a gentleman, I give him credit to this day, YN1 Coughlin. He was a yeoman. He said, thank you for coming to me. Let's get you some courses. Long story short, this is about a 1.5 year process. Before I'm done, I'm standing in front of him again. And this is where I came up with my 3 R's. And he's sitting there, and I'll never forget it. He's got this, he's looking at paperwork. I'm like standing at attention. He's an E6, but I don't care. I'm an E1, E2 at the time. He goes, how do you think you did, Garrett? And I said, I don't know, sir. He goes, you don't know? What, you don't believe in yourself? I'm like, yes, sir, I believe in myself, but I'm scared shitless. And this is what he told me. This is one of the biggest, probably the most impactful things that's ever happened to me in my life. And I get emotional about it. He goes, you passed. And I just had this moment of like numbness and excitement. And I didn't know what to do. And I went, and he goes, now, before you ask me your stupid question, what your score was, he said this, he goes, remember this right now, right? It's not the score that you received, it's what you do with the opportunity that's been presented to you. To this day, he still won't tell me what my score was, and I could look it up, but I won't. I probably just squeaked by, but who cares, right? I showed up, I was grateful, not greedy. He came to my graduation, and I'm not looking, you've heard the analogy, the rear view mirror is so much bigger than the front view than the rear. And I'm like, I still look back at where I was, but I know where I'm going. And a lot of people hit me up all the time. And when I get up on the stages, they're like, was Navy SEAL was that the greatest accomplishment you've had in your life? And I'm like, no, at the time it was. As of right now, it's my wife and my kids. But tomorrow might present another opportunity, another one. So I call it the Al Bundy syndrome, where I see all these guys living in the past. I get it. I was a Navy SEAL. I wasn't just got off the phone with Rob O'Neill. I mean, all these guys that have like done amazing things. That's who they are. That's what got them to where they are now. But that's not who they are now. They're evolved. I don't want to live. I don't want to be Al Bundy. I don't want to keep referring to. You go home and you see it with your friends. They're living in the past. I have buddies that can remember every single thing about buds and every single thing about growing up. And I'm like, did it stop there? And it's because they haven't decided to progress, because I don't believe in perfection. You have to chase, I progress. So I'm just trying to constantly grow. And I'm getting better at it, and I want to be better at it. So that's who I am. That's what I do. And that's how it's going to be.
Man, you literally reiterated something to me a few weeks ago. I had on Nick Lavery on the show, and your answer was very similar to his. And it really just struck a chord with me that, guys like you, like him, the family part and the way that you are always evolving. It motivates people to want to continue to evolve.
I haven't always been that man.
Yeah.
I didn't always put my family first. I didn't always put fitness first. Fitness I always kind of did, but I used to be very selfish. There comes a time where I'm speaking for men. I don't speak for women because I don't know. My wife will tell you I don't know women well enough to do that. But there comes a time where a man has to flip I don't want to say the switch, because I turned my switch on a long time ago and I leave it on. But the narrative from selfish to selfless. I'm selfish with my why, which is me. I'm very selfish with that, but I'm selfless with monetary things, and with other things. I'm very selfish with my time now, because I don't believe in time management. I guard my time, because the more efficient and effective I am with my time, the more I can spend with my family. I wasn't always like that. I used to always, chase goals and chase dreams. I don't chase anything. I run them down. Once I hit them, it's like, okay, I got a taste for that. What's next? I'm like, the apex predator. You get a taste for meat. You get that flesh in your teeth. You want more. I don't think, and everybody goes, and I'm learning this now. People are like, when's enough enough? It's not even about the money, making more money. I think it's just about the feeling of accomplishing,
Mm.
right? The accomplishment of your objective and hitting that target. It releases so many emotions and feelings, and it's a high. And listen, if I'm going to be addicted to something, I'm going to be addicted to being a savage. I'm allergic to being average. I don't want to be that guy. I tell everybody, God put me on earth at 5'7" with a size 10 shoe. I'm an average human being, but I'm 205 pounds. I'm in better shape than most people, in my age group. I mean, I run with some solid guys, so they know who they are. It doesn't apply to them. So I decided, listen, if God can't make me go this way, then I'll make myself go this way. I create who I am and what I'm going to be. And that's what I want the listeners on here to realize. If you're not happy with who you are, where you are, and what you're doing right now, you and you alone have the power to change. It won't change overnight. This transformation of the man that you see before you is 51 years in the making. It doesn't happen overnight. I don't believe in luck. You win the lottery, that's luck. Luck doesn't get it done, right? It's the getting up the daily grind. I have great days, I have bad days, just probably like you.
Yeah. Man, Ray, you might have just did it on the second here, man. Epic quote of the podcast for the year with that, man. Thank you.
Sure.
Man, that just really was intense, and thanks for that. I wanted to ask you, you're definitely into leadership, and I can tell just this little bit of speaking with you that you're definitely someone who I would be willing to follow. You developed, I believe, the Q course. What is that all about?
Oh, man. So I partnered up with Matt Schneider, one of my business coaches. We were co-founders of the project and the Squire program and all this other stuff. What I'm looking for and what I tell people is, as a Navy SEAL, I'm the biggest quitter you've ever met in your life. And people are like, what? I quit things that don't serve me purpose anymore, right? You don't really see me drinking. I don't smoke. I'm not watching porn. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. It doesn't serve me purpose. It fills a temporary void that doesn't really accomplish anything. So what we do is we go to these companies, and it's companies or groups or teams, and we teach people that there are three battlefields of life: battlefield, business field, and home field. You may be super successful at one thing, but are you applying what you're doing in business to home, right? Like, you can be super successful, but are you missing vacations, holidays? Are you doing this? So what we do is we come in and we teach on mindset. We teach on physical, mental, emotional mindset. We teach on teamwork, problem solving, leadership, and communication, building teams, building morale. And we break a team down and we build them back up. Sometimes we incorporate the physical training. And sometimes we just go in and we lecture. But then Matt is a business coach. I have another gentleman by the name of Garrett, G3. These guys are multi-million-dollar guys. They bring in the multi-million-dollars with the financial. I bring it in with the mindset.
Man, it sounds really interesting. I've been in healthcare analytics for years, but leading teams in that regard. And I've always been interested in the whole leadership aspect. So that's something that really definitely interested me, and I wanted to ask you about. You've done a lot with programs, and I know this one a little bit personal, a little bit tougher, but I did want to ask about it. I know that you, unfortunately, tragically lost your father at a very young age. Mm-hmm. How did that impact you and then lead you to develop the Squire program?
Well, I obviously, the first thing that generated was rage and anger. Then there was uncertainty and doubt. And then as I grew, I think, my superpower is I learned how to use rage in a positive manner. Everybody, runs from fear and rage. I use it. I love it. But what it did is it kind of had me look through life in a different lens.
Mm.
And what I do with my lens now is I go, geez, I wouldn't, when I hear these stories about young men that don't have male role models and they don't have fathers in their life, or they were beaten or they were abused, I can relate because I got street cred because that's what happened to me. So all I've done, and the reason why we created these courses, was we want to try to interact with these young men and let them know that just because this happened to them, that, there are men, I'm not just one of them, there's many more who are living proof that even though they were dealt, that shit sandwich,
Mm.
if you will, that they made it into something much more, much more beautiful. I mean, now that I look at it, I know people think this sounds morbid, but my father dying is what I think helped create the man that I am now. Um, People always ask me, what do you think would be different if your father would have died? I don't know. I don't think I would be as mentally tough as I am now. I really don't. Um, I don't. Um, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But I do know that I'm not alone. Um, I know there's a lot of other young men that are suffering, and I know that I tell young men, depending on what form of pain there is, because there's physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial pain, you're not alone. It's not your fault, and we can get out of this hole, if you will. So I don't
Well,
know if I put it the most eloquently, because life isn't about being eloquent. It's about just being real and raw. And sometimes life sucks. Not everybody gets a fair shake or a fair hand, but that's not a reason to give up. Or if you come from a history of abuse or alcoholism or drugs, you've heard the story. Um, there's the two twin brothers with the father, and they asked the one son, why are you a heroin addict? And they were like, because my father is. And they asked the other one, why are you a multimillionaire? Because my brother and father are heroin addicts and I want to cure them. Who do you want to be? How are you going to make the change? So I want to be the one. I mean, I actually had a brother who died a crib death before I was born. I want to be the one that makes an impact. I don't want to impress people. The title, like Navy SEAL, impresses people. I want to get on stage and make an impact, make a difference. That's why we do the Squire program, and we are. We're making an impact, and I think now is the time. I think now America needs this more than ever. I honestly feel that this country, from a masculinity standpoint, is the weakest and the softest that it's been. And I'm not saying you got to walk around and beat your chest and lift weights and have tattoos. Just we cater to such a small group of individuals in this country that are bitching and whining about everything. And they're the ones that are sitting on their asses doing nothing. Where you have hardworking Americans busting their ass, paying their taxes, doing everything. They can't get a break, but they're following the rules, and it just infuriates me. You know.
I'll tell you, you definitely touched on something I want to get into. So I want to kind of combine things here. You use a term about modern day knights, but you'd start to touch on the masculinity. And this is something that's always intrigued me too. And I agree about society right now. Like this whole thing of taking the word toxic and combining it with masculinity. Like I just, listen, I have 3 daughters and 1 son. So like I kind of, I don't get it all. And I feel sometimes that, it's a lot different from growing up. Obviously, we're the same age, growing up in the 70s, the 80s, right? So what do you think of that? Because I agree, like we shouldn't be beating our chest and things like that. But I do believe we're hurting society, and especially the younger generations and our young men today, by not being masculine examples.
Well, I mean, listen, you could throw toxic on anything and it sounds like a bad thing. And, some flowers are born with thorns in them. So they're always going to get you. But I don't know where the pendulum switch happened. I think a lot of it's just this an internet and, allowing people to sit at home. What's funny is America has gotten easier because think about how many people can sit home, work from home, get your groceries delivered and everything. And the reason why we didn't have these problems back in the day is we didn't have the luxuries that we have now. People abuse the luxuries that we have. I'm not saying that if, listen, you work your ass off, you work at home and you get your groceries delivered, you're not a masculine human being. I'm saying that people that sit around and aren't doing anything to better themselves are bitching at the people that are, and they're just calling that toxic masculinity. Like, if you have a beard now, that's toxic. If you have tattoos, that's toxic. No, it's not. It's a choice. Just like if you want to do something, that's your choice. If you do you, I'll do me. But the problem I'm having is people like to slap these toxic, like, if you're a man that wants to be in shape, that's a toxic thing. No, it's not. It's a choice. In this country, you have choices. A lot of countries, you don't have those choices. So what I tell people is if you're not happy with who you are and what you're doing, then make the change. Don't tell me I'm toxic because I'm a 52-year-old man that goes to the gym 6 days a week. I don't want to drink. I don't smoke. I do have tattoos on me because my tattoos tell a story. I grow a beard because my wife likes a beard. And that I want to make a difference helping young men, making them stronger. I agree with the way this country was founded. Now, there are certain things that I don't agree with. But through time, we've changed those things, right? I don't believe in slavery. Our country, this was before my time. It was in the past, but what are we trying to do? We're trying to write that out of history books. I think that's an important part of American history to see how far, right, individuals have come. I think it's amazing, but instead we try to hide the past. You talk to a kid nowadays that's going to middle school or high school, they don't have a clue about American history because we're trying to rewrite it. We wouldn't be where we are without it. So my thing is stop being so fucking sensitive and roll up your sleeves and get ready to do some work because we need to, as a country, come together collectively because I'm telling you, we as a country look weak to foreign countries. It's not a matter of if, it's when. We will be tested again. We were tested at 9/11. We're tested during certain things. We're going to be tested again. I honestly think the next big test is going to be foreign boots on our soil. Never happened before, but it will because we are exposing ourselves and our vulnerability.
So kind of goes away from, and this, what I love about the podcast is as we start to talk more, it leads me to other things. So I want to ask you then, with that being said, I'd like the direction we're going there. Ray, it almost feels to me like our leadership kind of wants it that way.
I think our leadership loves the puppet masters love to control certain things. And we're developing this country of just followers of sheep. We need more wolves. Wolf isn't a bad thing, right? You can't have an overpopulation of something, right? What do the wolves do? What do things do? They eat. They keep a balance. There needs to be a balance. We're not balanced anymore. We're allowing a few sheep to tell all the wolves what to do. But we're so scared and it's so taboo to speak up. You see it. You see people in distress. What does everybody do? They pick up their phone and they start videoing it. Back in the day, when you didn't have this, people would run and aid help. Someone gets mugged, people were filming it. Why doesn't anybody help? You know why they don't help? Because society, our system, will punish them for helping. Will punish them for helping. Imagine if we just rolled the clocks back 30 years to the way things used to be, and we brought it to today's society, half the shit that we're dealing with would go away. It would work itself out, I promise you. I promise you. Back in the day, think about it. When you're a kid, 16, 17 years old, you get pulled over by a police officer. You would literally turn off the car, roll down your windows, put your hands out the window. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. And you probably still got a ticket. Thank you, sir. But what do you get now? The level of just disrespect for our law enforcement, our military, it is insane. But when you need us and you need them, they're your best friends. It infuriates me because we are the great, I've been everywhere. We are the greatest nation on the planet. We're a new nation compared to some others. And for some reason, we are the cream of the crop. How did we get there? It wasn't by all this deception and miscommunication. It was by being a united front with people that came from all over the world that wanted a better society. They rolled up their sleeves and they went to work. And it's so insulting to our ancestors who put in the work, the blood, sweat, and tears, who died for this country, both on the battlefield, off the battlefield. I mean, I just don't even get me started about 9/11. People were running. What are the heroes doing? They're running to it. It's insane. We need more of that. And I'm not going to lie, we need an administration that's not a little, that I need, bring back Reagan, bring back his mindset, his mentality, and his outlook on life. I don't care if people want to hate me about that. He put up with nothing. We were feared by other nations across the world. And when he said something, it was done. If someone was disrespectful, he said, leave. Now you got President Biden at these rallies looking ridiculous. That's not presidential. It's not presidential at all. And what do? We bash Trump. Employment rates were at an all-time low. Jobs were great. The country was booming. And what do? We let the media come in and bash this poor guy. Mr. Trump could save cancer, and somehow the media would make him a bad guy for it. We give the media too much power. We need to stop. That is literally this, and the media streams that are run by certain parties, we're giving them way too much power. We need to pull back on that. Other countries do. And you don't have this nonsense that's going on. You get me in a rant. I try not to rant about this stuff. I'm sorry.
No apologies, because listen, we're on the same page. I mean, listen, you're probably in a position to do more than me, but I am on that same page myself, my family. I come from a family of police and military, and we appreciate all your service. Couple things to tie this up. What would you want? Obviously, you've accomplished a lot. What kind of message you want people to take away from your story and the work you do and continue to do?
The story I would want to bring across is stop being so left, stop being so right, stop being up, so down. Just be a great human being and do something for yourself and for others. Everybody's in this party or that party. Everybody's, I'm a male, I'm female, this. Just be a human being. Just be a great fucking human being that wants to contribute to society. If we did this, if people worried less about themselves and more about others and just making this country amazing again, like the programs that we're doing, like when we do the Squire program, everybody's like, you make thousands and thousands of dollars. People are idiots. We pay our travel, we pay our room and board, we pay our food, and we give the money to charity. People have no clue. All these people that chime up and are bitching and moaning and griping and aching, they're living at home. And my thing is put down the phone, get your ass up, get moving, and make a difference. Stop being so this way and that way, and just focus on just what's ahead of you. So many people do this. I speak all the time. I'm like, who's Republican? Who's Democrat? Who's conservative? Who's this? Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. I don't care who you vote for. I care about having the right person in office who's doing their political agenda is this country, not themselves. But we're not going to have that because so many people would rather have the wrong person in office just because they don't like a way a man looks or the way a man acts. Like, kudos to Mr. Trump. He didn't have to do that shit. He was a billionaire already. You don't like the way he acts? I don't care. Does he get the job done? I don't care if people like me. But if you don't like what I'm doing, tell me why, but what are you doing to help? That's the message I want to get across, because everybody's got a bitch and a gripe and a groan and an ache, And then I'll say, but what are you doing? You know, you make so much money on your programs. Okay, what are you doing? That's not the point. It is the point. If you're not doing anything, shut the hell up. You're part of the problem. Or do what I do and try to make a difference. You're not going to make everybody happy. And you know what? As long my vision and mission and goals is as long as I'm being the best version of myself, I personally don't give a fuck. The people in my life that I love and I trust and people that are my mentors are the ones that are telling me, you know, yes, you're doing good, but even my wife, she'll dial me back. Nope, that's not a good idea. Okay, thank you. But she's out there grinding with me. You know, you're out there grinding. You're trying to make a footprint in America by spreading the word. And you're doing more than most. When everybody else just wants to get behind a screen and tell you you're a piece of shit and this and that, where it's like, and then it's like, well, let's talk. And you'll see it. I'll give you an example. If you ever do an Instagram live, you'll see all these trolls come out and they'll make all these nasty comments. Here's a little thing. Try to go live with them. What do you think they're going to do? They decline. Scared to talk. Why? Let's have a conversation. But instead they'll sit there and just, you know, pardon my language, they go at you. They're not angry at you. They're angry at themselves because they are doing exactly what you and I aren't. They're doing nothing. And they're pissed off because people like us have the cojones to step up and make a stand. Whether it's right or wrong, we're doing something. That's what I tell people. Just like at the gym. Ray, I'm overweight. Okay, what are you doing about it? Nothing. Well, that's stupid. Get up and do something. The power of something is so much more just insane than doing nothing. That's the thing. People want to do nothing and get results. Newsflash, it's not going to happen. So do something instead of bitching about it. You know, you don't like who's in office? Get up off your lazy ass and vote. It sucks, but vote. I hate standing in line. I hate it. I'm not doing a mail-in ballot. I'm going to go there and make sure my message gets across.
Man, you're preaching and talking the truth there, Ray. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this, man. This has made my week, getting the year off to a good start. Last question I did want to ask you was this. You and we mentioned a little bit about Apex, Mal, Wolves, things like that, right? So personal, what would you want though if the day Ray's not around, right? Hopefully that's a long, long time from now. What do you want your family to remember about you?
That I was a man of faith, that I believed in what I call the team care. We have the team care, that I believed in that. And I was just a man of integrity and honor. You know, my principles are very simple. And I want to be remembered for making an impact, not impressing people, like changing lives. You know, that's it. I wish it was more, but it's not. Too many people complicate their legacy. My legacy is just impact. I want to make an impact. You know, I want people to go, wow, that fucking guy showed up and put out, pardon my language, but that's who I am. When I walk into the room, people are like, I don't take no for an answer. If that were the case, I wouldn't be with my wife. I asked my wife out like 10 times. I told my wife the first day I met her, you will be my wife. She's like, that's a new one. You'll see. 20 years later, yeah. When you know, brother. When you know. That was my destiny. My destiny was to be with her. My destiny is to make a difference. My destiny is to stay fit. My lifelong goal, people laugh at me, I will be the next Jack LaLanne. People laugh at me. Some of the biggest influencers, Phil Heath, and they're like, that is insane. Why? Mine is being a chiropractor like he was. Not many people know that. Why can't I be him? Why can't I? Tell me I can't and watch me do it. You want to piss me off? Tell me I can't do something and I'll prove you wrong. But I'm also, more importantly, don't do it to prove them wrong. Do it to prove yourself right. That's what I want to end with. I do everything to prove myself right. I believe in me. I have a shirt that says, I believe in me. I bet on me.
Man, dude, this has just been, I mean this, man. This is really, I couldn't have started 2024 off in a better way, man. So I am so grateful for that.
Of course.
Is there anything that you got coming up this year that you'd like to kind of plug now? You know, anybody should be on the outlook for?
Man, just, I mean, I'm doing a lot of speaking. I mean, we got SHOT Show coming up. We'll be at SHOT Show with Watchtower Firearms. I got I'm doing a Squire program in January with Bedros Koulian. That's the father-son program. And I'm just doing a lot of speaking. You know, I can be reached at raycashcare.com if you're interested in anything, or Instagram, raycashcare. I will tell everybody this. I answer every single message myself if it's a well put together message. If it's something stupid, I'll tell you you're stupid and I'll block you. It's that simple.
Well, Ray's a man of his word, because trust me when I tell you this, when I reached out, he responded probably within 10, 15 minutes. And I was just, it was fantastic. Well, Ray, listen, man, I want to wish you, your family, a great new year, a lot of success. You know, I don't want to even wish you luck, because you're a driving force.
Luck.
Yep. You're a driving force, man. And I believe that you will absolutely achieve what you put your mind to, man. So again, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Again, thanks everybody for watching. If this doesn't get your 2024 kicked off and get you off your ass and motivated, I don't know what will. So thanks. Looking forward to 2024. Ray, take care.
Thank you, sir.
This has been the Bare Essentials. Thanks for listening. And remember, never hibernate on your goals.